Hello my fellow book lovers and welcome to today's video. Today I thought it would be fun to talk about some of the book series that I want to read in 2024 because I actually have quite a bit on this list that I have here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I have 13 series on my list that I want to read in 2024. Now I can't guarantee that I'll read all of these series, but like that would be my goal because these are series that I really want to read. Some of them are just duologies or trilogies. Some of them are like bigger, longer series. And this list doesn't include series that I've already started. So if I've already started the series, I've clearly already started it and I don't want to like necessarily read it in 2024 because I will automatically be reading it in 2024. That makes sense. So it's not on this list. Most of these series, I actually do not physically have any of them. Some of them I think are on, I'm literally looking down at a piece of paper of all the ones that I've written them on. Some of them I know for a fact are on Kindle Unlimited. I do want to buy them. I obviously, if I love the series, I'm going to end up buying all the books. But yeah, some of them are on Kindle Unlimited that I know I can read. And then other ones I'm just gonna buy along the way as I read them. Alrighty, let's just get right into it and start talking about some of the first series that I want to read. Now this is a mix of like romance, fantasy, mystery, young adult, adult series. So like we're getting a wide array, a wide genre of options here, okay? First one I'm gonna talk about, which I feel like a lot of people haven't heard of, but it seems really good, and that is Lark. I think this is meant to be a trilogy, and the second book, Nightbane, just came out very recently, and to be quite honest, the only reason I don't have it was because that it came out in hardcover and not in paperback, and I clearly bought this in paperback and want them to match. But I do think that this is gonna be a 3-book series. I'm not too sure though, but let me read you the back of the book to give you a little bit about it because I've heard her talk about it. And when I say her, I mean the author. I've heard her talk about the series before and it actually does seem really cool. Every 100 years, the island of Lark appears for only 100 days to host a deadly game where the rulers of 6 realms fight to break their curses and win unparalleled power. Each ruler has something to hide. Each curse is uniquely wicked. To break them and save themselves and their realms, one ruler must die. To survive, Isla Crown must lie, cheat, and betray, even as love complicates everything. Honestly, and it actually is also getting turned into, I think, a movie. I think the people who produced Twilight or something like that got their hands on the film rights and are gonna produce the film, which is actually really cool, honestly. So yes, Lark. This is the first series I want to get into in 2024. Let's talk about another fantasy series, and I think this one's only gonna be a duology. I'm actually not too sure. I'm almost positive that everyone says that it's a duology, and that is gonna be Divine Rivals. I know Divine Vows actually comes out the day after Christmas, and depending on if I get Divine Rivals or when I get it, I'll probably end up buying them both at the same time. But I truly really want to read it. Everyone has hyped it up so much. I want to see if it's worth the hype, and I can't imagine that it isn't. I've seen the quotes. It has to be worth what everyone's saying it is. And plus, I go based off Sarah Caroli is just like someone who, she says buy a book, I'm running to the store and buying it. Like she and I feel like have very similar tastes, and I know that she absolutely loved Divine Rivals, so I feel like if she loved it, I will love it because I love romance, especially romance, fantasy romance. Chef's kiss. In 2024, I would love to read the Divine Rivals duology, which is Divine Rivals and Divine Vows, I'm pretty sure. Or Ruthless Vows. Yes, Ruthless Vows, not Divine. I'm just getting all twisted up here. Okay, and we're gonna do another series that I know is on Kindle Unlimited, and that is the Vancouver Storm series, and this includes Behind the Net and The Fake Out. I don't know if there's gonna be a 3rd book in this series, but that's what it's called. It's called the Vancouver Storm series, and I think because that's the team that they play on, because this is a hockey romance. I have read one hockey romance book in my life, and let me tell you, not even 2 weeks ago, and I'm obsessed. Okay, my new favorite romances, my new favorite tropes, hockey romances. I don't know what it is about them, but I love them. So that is a series I do really want to read. I actually do have a video idea for that one, so I think I will probably end up having a video about it, so you're welcome. Next up, we have the Dreamland Billionaire series. Now, I do only own the first 2 in this series, but obviously once I get to the 3rd one, I'll just read it when I can, because considering these are just kind of like interconnected and they're not like following a specific, I don't know, what was I trying to say? I have no idea. Anyways, I really do want to read this. I'm glad, okay, this is what I was gonna say. They're interconnected storylines, but they all follow separate characters, which is something I kind of like because then it allows me to be able to kind of like bounce back and forth and not feel like I have to read all 3 books in one sitting, if that makes sense. Like when I'm reading fantasy books, I tend to like to read all of them in one sitting so that like I remember everything that has just happened from the last book when I'm going into the next one, and so that like I don't forget any characters or certain plot points, and I love like just going right into them. But with these ones, they all have or are following the same like storyline, but they all follow different characters that all have their own storylines, if that makes sense. You probably don't care. But yes, I'm very excited to start the Dreamland Billionaire series. I think everything gets explained in the first one as to like next 2 books, like the plot line, like the big overarching plot line is gonna follow these 3 guys, and I think they all inherit something from their grandfather or their dad or someone like that. And basically Dreamland is like Disney World, and they all inherit something from the business, but they all have to do something in order to get it. I'm not doing a very good job explaining it because honestly I don't know that much. The only thing I know is that it's based off Disney World. So next up, another book series. I don't actually own any of the books, but like everybody talks about them and raves about them, and that is the Chestnut Spring series. I read one cowboy romance this year, and it was actually a Christmas cowboy romance. Now it really wasn't like that cowboy-ish, so like I don't want to even say I read a cowboy romance, but I really want to. And with the Chestnut Spring series, again, kind of like the fine print that I feel like it follows like a group of brothers and like friends, and they're the same like giant overarching plot line is in there, but they all have their like each book has its own plot line and each set of characters. I can kind of bounce back and forth between different books. If I'm not like feeling a romance next, I can go into a thriller or a fantasy, and like I can go back because, you know, it's just following some of the same characters and everyone has like little cameos in there. Is another book series I want to read, and I'm very excited about it because everybody raves about the Chestnut Spring series, so I hope that it lives up to the standard. Next up is the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. I do own this entire series. I actually bought the entire series without reading the first one because everyone, first of all, again, raved about this book and about this series. So I was like, you know what? I don't need to read the first book to know that I'm probably gonna like it. Like I'm not, you know what I mean? So I bought all 3 because I really just didn't want to wait until like the 3rd one came out for me to like have to wait and then read it, and I just bought all of them when the 3rd one came out, and I'm really happy about it. The only thing that I'm not happy about is that this is a Barnes & Noble exclusive, but it's not the hardcover, and I don't think they had the hardcover. So now The Ballad of Never After, A Curse for True Love, I think that's what the 3rd one's called, both are hardcover, but this one is not, so that disappoints me. I'm really excited to read this one because I know that the romance, the main guy is a villain, and I knew what the first one was about, but now I'm drawing a blank on it. But you guys should know what it's about if you've heard everyone talk about it, so I don't need to explain it. But I'm really excited to read this series in 2024. I'm gonna make a whole entire video reading vlog around this series just because everybody loves it so much, and I just wanna like document my reactions to it because I wanna see if I love it as much as everybody else does. Okay, next up we have 2 young adult series, both by the same author, and that is The Inheritance Games and The Naturals. Again, everyone's raved about these 2 book series from Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and I've actually never read anything by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and I think obviously these 2 are going to be great introductions to her. Granted, these are her 2 most popular series. I know that she has other ones. I don't really know what they're called. Like I said, I know that she has other ones. These 2 are definitely both young adult mysteries, I'm pretty sure, but I know they have pretty exciting plot lines, and they're all like subplots of romance, I think, which I'll also really enjoy because that's just fun. But either way, I'm really excited for those. I've heard great things about them. I have to buy them. I keep meaning to, and then when I go to the store, they either don't have all of them because I'm like, I'm not gonna not buy them and then not buy the entire series because that's my toxic trait. Is I have to have the entire series for me to, for some reason, for me to read the books. But so a lot of the time I'll go to the store and then they just don't have the whole series. They only have like 1 or 2. And a lot of the times it's never the first one. So I'm like, I'm not gonna buy the series if I'm not gonna buy the first one. So anyways, that's another series I wanna read. Next up, we have another one that Sarah, time and time again, has talked about. If you know her favorite book series, then you know what I'm talking about. And that is Magnolia Parks. I've heard very mixed reviews about this series, but considering I know the contents of the series and like what it actually is, I know it's about socialites and it's very toxic relationships and toxic storylines, the whole 9 yards. I know all of that. So I think going into it, I will still like the series because I'm well aware of what's going on in the books beforehand. Like if I just went into it thinking it was some type of love story like other people have, I wouldn't have liked it. You know what I mean? Anyways, Magnolia Parks series as well as the Daisy Hates, I'm gonna include those both as Magnolia Parks. Like they all follow under that bridge. So that is the book series I want to read. I think I will wait. I think the last Magnolia Parks book is coming out this year. So I'm just gonna probably wait until that last one comes out. But with this series, I think I may just buy the first one first to see if I even like it. But if I do like it, then I know, okay, I'm gonna buy the rest of the series. At least I'm smart about it. This is the last book that I do not physically have, and then I have 3 other books that I physically do have to show you. And that is the Powerless series. I don't know how many books are gonna be in this, but honestly, with the way that everybody talks about this book, I'm gonna read it. Like, it's just, I am a big fantasy girly, a romantasy girly. You give me romance and a fantasy, put them into one, I'm buying it. It doesn't matter who says that you should buy it, I'm still gonna buy it. Like, if I read on the back of it and I'm like, this, and it has like romance and it's a fantasy, I'm like, oh, high stakes, oh, I'm buying. You know what I mean? I don't know if anyone else is like that, but yes, the Powerless series. And then I think the second one is also coming out sometime this year. So I might read it closer to when the second one comes out because it will make it a little easier on my brain to remember everything going on. We've got 3 more books, all right? First one is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Again, haven't read this series, obviously, like I said. I only have the first 2 because I think I've said this in another video, but I've heard that the 3rd book ruins the series. So I'm gonna debate whether on if like the second one wraps things up or if it doesn't, because if it doesn't wrap things up, then I'm obviously gonna buy the last one. But if the second one is really wrapped up with the story, I might not buy the 3rd one. I don't know. I've heard very mixed things. I need someone to tell me, is the 3rd book worth it or is it not? Let me know. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I want to read this especially before the show comes out. I don't think the show's gonna come out anytime soon. I would like to read it before then. Next up, this is another set of interconnected standalones, I think, and that is the Twisted series by Anna Huang. Only have the first one. I know my mom got me 2 other ones for Christmas because I sent them to her and she bought them. I am excited to start reading this series because I've also heard amazing things about the characters in all of these books. I know a lot of people say the second one is their favorite. I technically don't have to read this first one to read that second one, but I want to. So I'm also really excited to start this series. And the last series that I want to read this year, and I'm praying I'm gonna be able to because it's a long series. Okay, and that is the Throne of Glass series. Now I know this isn't Throne of Glass. I know this is Assassin's Blade, but I am going to read Assassin's Blade before I read Throne of Glass because I heard that it makes the series 100 times better than if you read Throne of Glass first. So I am going to be reading this first. I am so extremely excited to read Throne of Glass this year because I have not just read, but this past year I read the ACOTAR series and I absolutely loved it. So I'm really excited to go on the journey of Throne of Glass because I know where you start is not where you finish, and it's just like this whole ride, and I 100% think I'm gonna love this series way more than ACOTAR based off of like what everybody says. Okay, like I'm gonna take that with okay, I don't need to take it with a grain of salt, but I think I'm gonna love this series way more than I love ACOTAR. I'm just extremely excited. The way I plan to read this series, buy them one at a time. So like once, which I know kind of contradicts other things that I've said in this video. This is a whole 8 books. Big, hefty books, okay? So I think I'm gonna reward myself every time I finish it. I feel like it would give me a little bit more time in between to like digest each one of them because I absolutely know that if I had all 8 books, I would read them one right after the other and I might get like burnt out or feel like I have to because I have all of them, but then it's like gonna take up all my time and I'm not gonna be able to read any other book because I will be reading all of A Throne of Glass, if that makes sense. So yeah, I don't want to get burnt out, and I also don't want to feel like I have to read every single one right after the other because I know, like I said, if I owned all of them, I would absolutely do that. That is all the series that I want to read in 2023. Now, okay, that's not all the series I want to read in 2023. It's a big chunk of the series. That's a whole 13. That's 13 series. Okay, that's a lot of books. Most of them are 3 or more. But yeah, that is it for this video. If you have personally read any of these series that I mentioned in this video, please like let me know like what you thought of them. I would love to hear everyone else's opinions on them because I'm super into other people's opinions about books because I want to know if we should share the same one, or if I feel like I'm gonna share the same one as you, or like the whole 9 yards. I love getting different opinions of people who love it and then who hate it and why. It just does something to me. I don't know what it is. But anyways, that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Don't forget to follow me on all of my social medias as well as subscribing to my channel, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.